All right, so today we're cracking open the latest issue of Medimagza to get a real sense of the state of modern medicine. We're going to look at the incredible pressures, the wild promises of the future, and, the deeply human core that's supposed to hold it all together. Let's get into it.
I want to start right here with this quote. It's from an emergency resuscitationist. And man, it just cuts right to the heart of everything we're talking about today. This idea of the person behind the patient, the whole life story that exists outside of that one clinical crisis.
And this very idea, this phrase, more than a moment, it really sets the stage for our entire discussion. It's just such a powerful reminder of what's actually at stake in healthcare.
So the story behind the quote is about a patient, Mr. D, who Dr. Grove was treating for severe sepsis. The team, they threw everything they possibly could at him, but he didn't make it. And as his wife stood there, she wasn't seeing a clinical case. She was seeing the end of a life. And her words, "He was more than this moment," just completely changed how Dr. Grove saw things. It was a reminder that behind every single emergency, there's a whole life lived. Okay, so from that one deeply personal story, let's kind of zoom out to the massive pressures facing the whole healthcare system. Because it's not just about individual patients, right? It's about a system that is under an immense amount of strain, fighting battles on so many different fronts.
I mean, the pressure is coming from all sides, starting with these really urgent public health threats. In March of 2025, South Africa was dealing with a pretty concerning Mpox outbreak. But this wasn't just any outbreak. For the very first time, they detected what's called the Clade-Ibe variant, a strain that's way more transmissible and actually harder to diagnose. It's just a stark reminder of how quickly new battles can pop up on the front lines.
But an outbreak like Mpox, that's really just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The bigger story here is a system facing a much deeper crisis. We're talking crumbling infrastructure, chronic underinvestment, and the huge impact this has on the morale of the people who are trying to hold the whole thing together.
And when you actually lay these crises out on a timeline, you see just how relentless the pressure has been. This isn't one single bad event. It's a cascade of shocks to the system, one after another, over the last decade. From the horror of the Life Isidimeni tragedy to corruption during the pandemic, and even the bizarre situation of having unemployed junior doctors while hospitals are desperately short-staffed. Each event just piles on top of the last, chipping away at public trust and the system's stability.
This quote from a rural clinician, it really reveals the devastating human cost. When a system is struggling, the burden, it always falls hardest on the most vulnerable. The people whose suffering just doesn't make the news. It's a powerful reminder that these aren't just policy debates on a timeline. They have quiet, life-or-death consequences.
So, with the system under so much strain, where do we even look for solutions? Well, maybe we look to the future. Because right in the middle of all these crises, we're on the edge of a technological revolution, and it's being driven by AI. But as we're about to see, it brings both incredible promise and some pretty serious peril.
On the one hand, the potential is just staggering. AI algorithms can help radiologists spot patterns that the human eye might completely miss. Machine learning is speeding up drug discovery, and predictive models, they can identify high-risk patients before they even get sick, shifting medicine from being reactive to proactive. It's this vision of healthcare that's smarter, faster, and way more personalized. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive catch: algorithmic bias. See, if an AI is trained on data from just one group of people, it might completely fail to work for others. And what that means is, without really careful oversight, this revolutionary technology could end up making the very inequalities it was supposed to help solve even worse.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. The future isn't about AI coming in and replacing doctors. It's about AI becoming an absolutely essential tool. The clinicians who are going to thrive are the ones who learn how to use this technology to enhance their own skills, freeing them up to focus on the complex decisions and compassionate care that only a human can really provide.
And for any of that future technology to actually work, I don't care if it's AI, telehealth, or digital records, it has to be built on a foundation that is timeless and completely non-negotiable. And that's patient trust and human resilience.
So how do you build that trust in a digital world? Well, in South Africa, a key piece of the answer is the POPIA Act, the Protection of Personal Information Act. And it's way more than just some bureaucratic hurdle. It's the legal framework that basically writes down the duty of confidentiality, protecting a patient's most sensitive data in this new age of AI.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it means we have to move beyond that single vague checkbox on a form. Meaningful consent means clearly explaining what data you're collecting and why. It means getting specific permission for different uses of that data and making sure that agreement is truly voluntary. It's all about empowering patients and respecting their autonomy.
But beyond any law or technology, the system is ultimately held up by the human spirit, and you can see that resilience captured so perfectly in the personal mottos of professionals on the front lines. It's not the same as yesterday, speaks to hope, to moving forward. Progress, not perfection. That's such a powerful mantra for just keeping going when things are tough. This right here, this is the human foundation that keeps everything from falling apart. And all of that brings us full circle, right back to where we started, with this idea of legacy and the enduring critical importance of human connection in medicine.
Dr. Grove writes that the patients he couldn't save are often the ones who teach him the most. The young woman whose case led to a whole new change in CT protocols, or the child whose failed IV line inspired new safety drills. See, their stories don't end when they die. They become embedded in the system itself, making it safer for the next patient. Their loss is literally transformed into learning.
It all really comes down to this simple but incredibly profound idea. When the memory of a patient and the lessons from their case live on, their impact continues. In medicine, memory isn't just about looking at the past. It's a fundamental part of progress.
And this brings us to Dr. Grove's final, powerful message, a message to the patients he lost. It's not a message of failure, but one of gratitude. It's a testament to the idea that the ultimate goal of medicine isn't just to cure, but to care, to learn, and to constantly become better, all of it driven by the memory of every single life touched along the way.